Hello everyone and welcome. If you're a first-time visitor, welcome. If you're a returning visitor, welcome back. Nice to see you again. I don't know what I'm thinking, I can't see you, but whatever. This is my vlogcast. My name is Pam and you are watching Stitches and Prayers. Let's get started. So as you can tell, I do have a finished object. This is my nebula. It is a pattern by Andrea Mowry. It is a paid pattern. It is $9 on Ravelry. The nebula comes in 8 sizes, going from a 40-inch bust all the way to a 70-inch bust, or 101 centimeters to 198 centimeters. I have notes, just a FYI. If you see me looking down, that's what I'm doing. It is worked with positive ease. And she calls for anywhere between 10 and 24 inches of positive ease, or 25.5 centimeters to 61 centimeters of positive ease. It's an oversized drop hem, drop shoulder. So as you can see, like the shoulder knit all the way down to here. This is all everything here, and then I picked up for the sleeve little ribbing there. It's all knit. It's knit in the round, and it's got the drop hem, so it is longer in the back. It's worked with some short rows back here to get that drop hem, so it's shorter here in the front than it is in the back. I knit mine in the size 2, so for a 43-inch bust, I made the 46-inch size, which is the size 2. So I don't have, what I have, 3 inches, but I think I have more, because there's my body and it comes way out there. So, but this is, I knit this in the Karen cotton funnel cakes, and it is in the color Primrose. I used 2 of these, and I only have this much left, which I weighed it, let me see, it's 1.9 ounces left. It's just this very pale, pretty pink color. So like I said, I only have 1.9 ounces left. It was on my needles for a total of 30 days. The pattern does come in this short sleeve option, or you can pick up for long sleeves, and I haven't read the directions for the long sleeves yet, but it does come with long sleeves, and they're like, from what it looks like, is they're more like a straight with no decreases, and then you do a rapid decrease at the wrist. But like I said, I haven't read that part. The gauge is for 17 stitches to 26 rows, and to be honest, I couldn't be bothered to gauge for this. I just jumped in with my measurements and went for it. So that could be the reason why I've got so much extra positive ease here than the pattern than I thought. But it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I love it. It does have this cool little detail on your shoulder. So you're knitting it in the round. Then when you get to the sleeve split, of course, you cast on a few stitches here in the underarm for that drop shoulder. And then you're knitting flat across the front. You're doing short rows for this neck shaping. And then in the back, I do have a cautionary tail. This is not the neck. Oops, I'm sorry. This is not the neck that's in the pattern, because I didn't read ahead. She has a pattern, it's called the Weekender, that I love. I've made at least 2. I think I've made 3. I've got another cotton one around here somewhere. I don't know where it's at. I've misplaced it and I'm not happy about it. And it does it has the exact same shoulder detail here with the ribbing, and then 3 needle bind off. So I didn't read the pattern. I've made the Weekender twice. It looks very similar. So why do I need to read the pattern? And so there was something wonky going on, and I couldn't put the actual ribbing that was supposed to be on this crew neck. But I do like the way that this turned out, and to cover up the raw stitches that were showing here. I don't know if I crocheted, just single crocheted across there, just to give it a little finished look. So yeah, that's my cautionary tale. Read your pattern. Read ahead. Don't think you know what's going to happen, because you might not. So, but that is my nebula. That will lead us into our whips. So, y'all haven't seen any of my whips. because they're all new cast-ons since I broadcast last. So my very first one that I'm going to talk to you about is an Easy V sweater that I am making. It is a pattern by Caitlin Hunter. It's a $9 paid for pattern. It comes in 10 sizes from 36-inch bust all the way to a 72-inch bust, or 91.5 centimeters to 183 centimeters. It also has positive ease of 2 to 4 inches or 5 to 10 centimeters. It's worked up in worsted weight yarn. I did gauge swatch on this one, and I didn't make gauge. So, that will lead us into our whips. So, y'all haven't seen any of my whips because they're all new cast-ons since I broadcast last. So I'll post another picture right here of hers, but I wasn't feeling color work because it's a color. Oh wait, back to the gauging. Sorry. So instead, I did do a gauge swatch, like I said, and I was getting 14 stitches for 4 inches. So I did math. My dad, if he's watching, surprise! I did math. So to figure out my size to make, I took my 14 stitches for 4 inches and I divided that by 4 to figure out how many stitches I was getting per inch. And I was getting 3.5 stitches per inch. So then I looked at the pattern for my bust measurement and I multiplied that measurement by the 3.5 stitches I was getting per inch. So I took 44, divided and multiplied that by 3.5, which gave me 154. Then I went back to the pattern and I found the size that had the closest cast on for that number. It was size 5. So I am making my Easy V sweater in size 5. Now, Easy V, as I showed you a picture, is a color work sweater, and I was not feeling color work. I really just wanted something that I didn't have to think about, do a lot of thinking about. So this is it. I did do this little, I did the cast on in this darker brown and then went into the ribbing in the main color. And you can't really, this, because it's all bunched up on these needles, you can't really tell what's going on here. It looks really, really weird. So hopefully on the next podcast, I'll be maybe past the sleeve split and it'll be a little bit easier to show. I can maybe put it on. Yeah, but this is it so far. My Easy V sweater. Work sweater. Oh wait, back to the gauging. Sorry. So instead, I did do a gauge swatch, like I said, and I was getting 14 stitches for 4 inches. So I did math. My dad, if he's watching, surprise! I did math. So to figure out my size to make, I took my 14 stitches. Make sure this is all. The only other thing I needed to tell you was that has been on my needles for 14 days. All right. Let's move on to another whip that I have got. And I've got it in my cute little thing here. And it is another Nebula. This one will be a long sleeve version. I'm not going to go into everything that, I already told you all of the specs, all of that. So I'm not going to go into all of that again. But this time I am making it out of fisherman's wool. And I'm using two colors in this one. Not because I'm doing, oh, there it is. Fisherman's wool. And it is this is Nature's Brown, and this is the main color. What I did on this one is I made the ribbing in the lighter color, which is also fisherman's wool. I need to make sure I didn't drop a stitch because it's been bouncing around on my lap. Okay. But the lighter is called oatmeal, and it is also fisherman's wool. And I'm using, for that one, I'm using the leftovers that I had from my, it was the Cozy Up pattern, the simple hug. So I had this right here, which is 2.4 ounces, and then I had another one that was 1.5 ounces. The 1.5 ounce one is what I used for this, and I just knit until I didn't have any more left. So, you know, I had a little bit of it left, but it wasn't enough to save or anything like that. It wouldn't do a full round, so I went ahead and started with the darker brown, the Nature's Brown, and kept on going. I'm also making this one in the size 2. I didn't gauge swatch, but and on the, I'm bouncing all over the place. In the Nature's Brown, I did have, I don't know what I had, I think I made a triangle scarf or something out of it, and what I had left over was, I had 2 balls, one that was 2 ounces and one that was 4 ounces, and I have, this is the 2 ounce one, and this is all I have left of the 4 ounce one, so it's the one I'm working off of now. So that's what's going on in there. So I'll keep track of how much I use for you guys. But I do have more of this, and I'm hoping that what I have left of the oatmeal will be enough for the neckline and my wrists, the cuffs. If not, I got this off of Amazon, and I do have more coming. I do like this wool. It's very soft to the touch. It's not very scratchy, and it's 100% wool. Like, you can pull some of the sheep hair out, and then you'll be working in there, and I forget what they're called, the coarse hairs from the sheep. But I'll be working through there, and I'll be pulling hay out of this. I love it. So that is my other nebula. I am going to make that one the long sleeve version, seeing as I'm making it out of wool. And, oh, that's a bad bruise. I didn't know I had it. But I am making that one a long sleeve, so I will read ahead and I will see how to make the sleeves so that they're right and follow the pattern. And I'm also, on this one, I think I could have made the body like at least 1 inch longer. I'm very conscious about it coming up and like showing my midriff or whatever, and it being too short. So I think that on the wool one that I make, I'm going to add 1 inch to the body. So I will take and I'll measure up to here and see how long that is, and then make it 1 inch longer. That's what I'm going to do. My next whip. I was scrolling through Facebook like one does, and I saw this cute little thing that I am going to do to wear to work for Halloween. We all dress up. I don't get too into dressing up. Last year, is it up there? Yeah. Last year, this is what I did. Last year, I crocheted this. And this is what I wore for Halloween. Let me turn it so it's right. And it's Oogie Boogie. He's not sitting right on my head, but it's Oogie Boogie. He's got his little spider here hanging. He's hanging awful low. I have to tighten that up a little bit. He should be up here somewhere. But yeah. So this is what I did last year for Halloween. So I'm going to do something very similar to that. And I found this on Facebook. So it's a mouse headband, and he's got some little clips. So I have the little clips to go on his little hands, and then so it's Ratatouille. I'm going to be the chef, and then I'm going to have my little Ratatouille on my headband. I'm going to have a little headband. So I've been looking for a mouse pattern that I like. And I couldn't find one, and I couldn't find one, and I couldn't find one. Finally, I found one. And I clicked on the link to it, and it took me to a YouTube video that was in Russian. I don't know if you know this about me. I'm an American. And I don't speak Russian. I can say das vidanya. Hello. So, but I happened to click on the tab and it opened up all of the information about the podcast, and there was a pattern written in Russian. But we have this wonderful thing called Google Translate. So I proceeded to copy and paste into Google Translate and said, translate from this to English, and ta-da! I now have a pattern. So that will be something that's going to be worked on between now and the next podcast, and hopefully I'll have it finished by then. If there's not another bright and shiny thing that I have to cast on. But if you are interested in it is a free pattern because, I mean, she posted it on her YouTube video. So if you're interested in it and you don't speak Russian either, then comment below and I'll figure out a way to get you the pattern. Or maybe I'll just link the video below and you can do the translations yourself. But that, my friends, is the end. Oh, one more thing to talk about. One more. And this is something sad. Because if you've watched any episodes, you've seen this. And it's my stripy edition of the Andrea Mowry Everyday Sweater. And I'm going to frog it. Taking out the needles. I'm done. It's not anything to do with the pattern. It's not anything to do with me not liking my stripes or anything like that. It's just, I don't reach for this at all. And I think it's because, one, I've not had any success with liking a round yoke sweater. When I move, I've got to pull it down too much, and it's just, I just don't. And for two, I don't like the feel of the fabric. It's too tight. And I don't think it's because it's all acrylic yarn at all, because I mean, I've got other things that are in acrylic yarn that I reach for that I like. I think it's because it's on like 4mm needles, and so it's really tight and dense, and it's stiff. I know that it will loosen up after it's done and after it's washed. But I really don't know if I want to put in all of the time. I mean, I'm on the body. I mean, I'm pretty far. I'm close to halfway. I mean, I've got the majority of the body and the arms to go. But I can't see putting in all of the effort for something that I'm not looking forward to wearing. I want something similar to this, but I think I need to do something that's not a round yoke sweater. I do prefer like this style of the drop shoulder. So that, my friends, is going to be frogged. I'm ripping it out. And we shall see what stripy thing I find to make in its place. Because I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. So, with that being said, that's all of the knitting. This weekend, Thursday, me and my husband and one of our granddaughters is moving to Boston, so Thursday was our last day with her before she moved. So we went to, long story short, we went to Grant's farm today, which is named Grant's Farm because it was a farm that was owned by Ulysses S. Grant, which was an American president. Don't ask me which one. He was after Abraham Lincoln, so after a Google search, Ulysses S. Grant was the 18th president of the United States. So at Grant's Farm, it is a free place to go visit with an $18 parking fee, which helps to, it goes into the park to help with the animals and the care and upkeep of the place. It's a 280-acre wildlife park, which is owned by Anheuser-Busch InBev. Anheuser-Busch InBev is what their name is now. It is built on land that was given to him. So when he married his wife, Julia Dent, in 18 something. I don't remember the year. His father-in-law owned this big, he was a farmer, he owned a lot of land, and he had given him, I forget how many acres of land, and that was his land that he built his home on. So it's part, the Dent farm and his property is all part of the wildlife, the 280 acres of wildlife park. So it's built on land given to him by his father-in-law, Frederick Dent. The property is home to Grant's log cabin, which they called hard scrabble due to the hard times that they had when they were living in that home. And it was built in 1856. There is also another house on the property that is called the Big House, which is where Grant lived between the Mexican War and the Civil War. In 1903, August Anheuser-Busch Sr. purchased the land from, I don't know who, I couldn't figure out who, but he purchased the land at that time, and in 1954 they opened it to the public. On the land was a fence that Ulysses S. Grant put up in memory of the Civil War, and it has, and I'll post a picture. I'll post many pictures here. Let me move over so I have place to put the pictures. But there are 2,563 gun barrels that make up a fence that runs along the main road graveway, and they are all from the Civil War. The animals that you see there, so you take a tram, you come in, and then you take a tram through Wildlife Preserve, and you see deer and you see buffalo. There are long deer. What else was there out there? There was like emus and ostriches. They have a zonkey. They have a donkey. They have horses. Then you get in, and there's more animals to see that they're not in cages. They're just in a fence. It's a low fence, and none of them are really dangerous animals that you know have to be. There's no lions and tigers or bears. Oh my! So along with the animals, it is also the home of the Clydesdale horses. That is where they're born at another farm. I can't remember the name of that farm right offhand. And then if they have the right coloring, then and temperament, I think that they're going to make a good fit to pull the Anheuser-Busch carriage. Then they come to Grant's farm to live, and that is where they're trained to pull the carriages that are in whenever you see the Clydesdales in the parades, those big antique looking. But they do have a bunch of them at the farm. I did a short video of that I'll post. So there is that, and some pictures of our little trip to Grant's farm today. So now, with all of that out of the way, if you were only here for the knitting portion of the video, I bid you adieu. I hope to see you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the video and ring the bell so that you will be notified every time I upload video. And let's get on to our prayers portion. Today our hymn is going to be Turn Your Eyes Upon Jesus. It was written in 1922 by Helen Howarth Lamell. She was born in England in 1863 into the home of a Wesleyan minister who immigrated to America when Helen was a child. She loved music, and her parents provided the best vocal teachers they could find. Eventually, Helen returned to Europe to study vocal music in Germany. In time, she married a wealthy European. But he left her when she became blind, and Helen struggled with the multiple heartaches during midlife. At age 55, Helen heard a statement that deeply impressed her. So then, turn your eyes upon him. Look full into his face, and you will find that the things of earth will acquire a strange new dimness. I stood still, Helen later said, and singing in my soul and spirit was the chorus, with not one conscious moment of putting word to word to make rhyme or note to note to make melody. The verses were written the same week, after the usual manner of composition, but nonetheless dictated by the Holy Spirit. Pastor Don Goins of Palo Alto, California, and his parents Paul and Catherine Goins, both 82, of Sun City, Arizona, knew Helen in Seattle. Was advanced in years and almost destitute, but she was an amazing person, said Doug. She made a great impression on me as a junior high child because of her joy and enthusiasm. Though she was living on government assistance in a sparse bedroom, whenever we'd ask how she was doing, she would reply, I'm doing well in the things that count. One day, the Goynes invited her to supper. We had never entertained a blind person before, recalled Catherine, and it was interesting. Despite her infirmities, she was full of life. I remember how amused we were when, following supper, she said, Now, if you will lead me to the bathroom, I'll sit on the throne and reign. But she was always composing hymns, said Catherine. She had no way of writing them down, so she would call my husband at all hours, and he'd rush down and record them before she forgot the words. Helen had a small plastic keyboard by her bed where she would play, sing, and cry. One day God is going to bless me with the great heavenly keyboard, she'd say. I can hardly wait. Helen Lamel, who wrote nearly 500 hymns during her lifetime, died in Seattle in 1961, 13 days before her 98th birthday. So, now the hymn. Turn your eyes upon Jesus. O soul, are you weary and troubled? No light in the darkness you see? There is light for a look at the Savior, and life more abundant and free. Though death into life everlasting, he passed and we follow him there. Over us sin no more hath dominion, for more than conquerors we are. His word shall not fail you. His promise, believe him, and all will be well. Then go to a world that is dying, his perfect salvation to tell. Turn your eyes upon Jesus. Look full in his wonderful face, and the things of earth will grow strangely dim in the light of his glory and grace. That one was a very hard one not to sing the words, but I'm hoping you all sang along with me. Father, thank you for the time that we've had to come together. Thank you for the wonderful hymn that Helen has wrote, that we will all continue to turn our eyes upon you and look full in your glorious face, so the things of earth will grow strangely dim in the light of your glory and grace. I thank you for those words, and I thank you for the grace. I hope that everyone watching this can show your grace and show your light to at least one person in the coming weeks. In your precious name, amen. All right, guys, and until next time, remember, this world is not our home. We're just passing through. Bye-bye.